The world watches with bated breath. Donald Trump, a man known for his unpredictable nature, has set his sights on NATO. His presidency, marked by a distinct America-first approach, has sent ripples of uncertainty across the Atlantic. NATO, the cornerstone of Western security for decades, is now facing unprecedented challenges. Trump's demands for increased defense spending from European allies have injected tension into the alliance. European nations, long accustomed to relying on the United States military might, are now at a crossroads. Trump's de-globalization strategy, a stark departure from traditional American foreign policy, has left many questioning the future of transatlantic relations. Is this the end of an era, or is it the catalyst for a stronger, more independent Europe? The answers to these questions are complex and far-reaching. Trump's policies have ignited a firestorm of debate, forcing European leaders to confront uncomfortable truths about their own defense capabilities. One thing is certain: the global political landscape is shifting, the old order is being challenged, and the outcome remains uncertain. Trump's America First rhetoric is not just talk, it's a policy shift with tangible consequences. His de-globalization strategy, a move away from multilateralism and international cooperation, has left many wondering, where does Europe fit in? Trump's skepticism of international institutions, including NATO, has been palpable. He views them as burdens on the United States, hindering its ability to act unilaterally on the world stage. This stance has created a vacuum, a void that Europe is now compelled to fill. For decades, European nations have enjoyed the relative comfort of American military protection. But Trump's America is less interested in playing the role of global policeman. This shift in American foreign policy has forced Europe to confront its own defense shortcomings. The question now is not whether Europe can afford to build up its defense capabilities, but whether it can afford not to. The era of American dominance is waning. Europe must adapt or risk being left behind in a world increasingly defined by great power competition. The alarm bells are ringing in Europe. French President Emmanuel Macron, a staunch advocate for European integration, has taken the lead in responding to the Trump challenge. His emergency meeting with European leaders, convened in the wake of Trump's latest pronouncements, was a clear signal: Europe must act, and it must act now. Macron's sense of urgency is palpable. He understands that the transatlantic relationship, the bedrock of European security for decades, is at a tipping point. Trump's unpredictable behavior and his disdain for multilateralism have left Europe vulnerable. The emergency meeting was not just a symbolic gesture, it was a call to action, a rallying cry for European unity in the face of American retrenchment. The message was clear: Europe can no longer rely on the United States to guarantee its security. It must take its destiny into its own hands. Macron's initiative has injected a sense of purpose into the European project. The time for complacency is over. The future of European defense rests on the ability of European nations to overcome their differences and forge a common path forward. Section 4. Merkel's vision: a European army takes shape. The idea of a European army, once a distant dream, is now gaining traction. This concept, which seemed almost utopian in the past, is now being seriously considered by European leaders and policymakers. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, in a landmark speech in 2018, laid out her vision for a more integrated European defense structure. Her speech was not just a call to arms, but a call for unity and cooperation among European nations. Her words, a stark departure from Germany's traditionally cautious approach to military affairs, resonated across the continent. Merkel's proposal was seen as a bold step towards a new era of European solidarity. Merkel's vision was not born out of a desire for European militarism. Instead, it was rooted in the need for a more self-reliant Europe, capable of defending its own interests and values. It was a pragmatic response to a changing geopolitical reality. The world was becoming more unpredictable, and Europe needed to adapt to these new challenges. The Trump presidency, with its unpredictability and its disdain for the transatlantic alliance, had exposed the fragility of European security. This unpredictability underscored the need for Europe to take more responsibility for its own defense. A European army, Merkel argued, would not replace NATO. Instead, it would serve as a complementary force, enhancing the overall security framework of the continent. It would complement and strengthen it, allowing Europe to share the burden of its own defense with the United States. This shared responsibility would lead to a more balanced and effective alliance, This would not only make Europe a more reliable ally, but would also enhance its strategic autonomy in an increasingly uncertain world. A stronger Europe would be better positioned to navigate the complexities of global politics. Merkel's speech was a watershed moment. It marked a significant shift in the way European leaders thought about defense and security. It shifted the debate on European defense, paving the way for concrete steps towards the creation of a European Defence Force, or EDF. This force would symbolize a new level of European integration and cooperation. The EDF, still in its infancy, represents a fundamental shift in European thinking. It is a testament to the continent's commitment to taking control of its own destiny. It is a recognition that Europe can no longer afford to be a security consumer. The continent must step up and take on the role of a security provider, ensuring its own stability and peace. It must become a security provider. This new approach to defense and security marks the beginning of a new chapter in European history, one where the continent stands united and strong. Section 5. The economic impact. A boon for European defense? The push for a European defense force is not just about geopolitics, it's also about economics. The creation of a unified defense force could lead to significant economic benefits for the continent. By pooling resources and standardizing equipment, European nations can achieve greater efficiency and cost savings. The European defense industry, long fragmented and inefficient, stands to benefit greatly from increased investment and integration. This sector has historically been plagued by duplication of efforts and a lack of coordination among member states. However, with a more unified approach, the industry could see a renaissance leading to more streamlined production processes and innovative advancements. Trump's demands for greater European defense spending, while controversial, have had one unintended consequence. They have spurred a renewed focus on the European defense sector. This renewed focus has led to increased collaboration among European nations, fostering a sense of shared responsibility and mutual benefit. Governments across the continent are now under pressure to boost their military budgets, creating significant opportunities for European defense contractors. This surge in spending is not just about meeting NATO obligations, it's about ensuring that Europe can defend itself independently, if necessary. A more integrated European defense market, driven by the need for interoperability and economies of scale, could lead to the emergence of European champions capable of competing with American giants like Lockheed Martin and Boeing. This would foster a more competitive market, driving down costs and encouraging innovation. This would not only reduce Europe's reliance on American military hardware, but would also create jobs and boost economic growth. The development of a robust European defense industry could lead to the creation of thousands of high-skilled jobs, providing a significant boost to local economies. The economic implications of a stronger European defense posture extend beyond the defense industry itself. A well-funded and efficient defense sector can have a ripple effect, stimulating growth in related industries and contributing to overall economic stability. Increased defense spending could have spillover effects in other sectors, such as aerospace, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence. These sectors are critical for maintaining technological superiority and ensuring national security in the modern age. This could help to drive innovation and technological advancement across the European economy. By investing in defense-related technologies, Europe can position itself as a leader in cutting-edge research and development, fostering a culture of innovation that benefits all sectors of the economy. Section 6. Trump and Zelensky, a meeting of unease. The world watched with a mixture of fascination and trepidation as Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky, the presidents of the United States and Ukraine respectively, met face-to-face. This was not just another diplomatic encounter, it was a meeting that carried the weight of global scrutiny. The stakes were high, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The meeting, fraught with tension and overshadowed by Trump's impeachment trial, did little to dispel the cloud of uncertainty hanging over transatlantic relations. The impeachment trial, which centered on allegations of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, cast a long shadow over the proceedings. Every gesture, every word exchanged between the two leaders was dissected by analysts and pundits around the world. Trump's pressure on Zelensky to investigate his political rivals, a move that would ultimately lead to his first impeachment, sent shockwaves through the international community. This was not just a bilateral issue, it had far-reaching implications for international norms and the rule of law. The very act of leveraging foreign aid for personal political gain was seen as a dangerous precedent. It was a blatant attempt to use the levers of American power for personal political gain, undermining the very foundations of American democracy. The implications were profound, raising questions about the integrity of American foreign policy and its commitment to democratic principles. Critics argued that such actions eroded trust in the United States as a global leader. The meeting also highlighted the precarious position of Ukraine, caught in the crossfire of a geopolitical struggle between Russia and the West. Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity were at stake, and the country's leadership faced immense pressure from all sides. The international community watched closely, aware that the outcome of this meeting could have significant repercussions for the region. Trump's transactional approach to foreign policy, his willingness to put American interests ahead of its allies, left Zelensky with few good options. Zelensky, a relatively new leader on the world stage, found himself navigating a complex and treacherous diplomatic landscape. The stakes were incredibly high, and the pressure was palpable. The Trump-Zelensky meeting was a stark reminder of the volatility of the Trump presidency. It underscored the unpredictable nature of Trump's foreign policy and the challenges it posed for allies and adversaries alike. The meeting served as a microcosm of the broader uncertainties that defined this period in international relations. It was a moment when the personal and the political collided on the world stage with potentially disastrous consequences. The world watched, holding its breath, as the drama unfolded. The meeting between Trump and Zelensky was not just a diplomatic event, it was a pivotal moment that could shape the future of international relations for years to come.